excellence from Timbuktu to builders of America. Only you, my brother, can bring it the way it needs to be brought. Because as soon as I saw that title, I knew exactly what it's going to encompass. How are you this week, brother?
I'm great, man. How are you? I know you're dealing with that cold, though.
Yeah, I am sweating. I'm not going to say what other stuff's a dripping, but you know, I'm coughing, so you won't see me and you will not hear me. I'll be here.
Okay.
I'll be here nursing the cold and everything like that. It hasn't stopped me. I continue to do some heavy manual labor, and I continue to do so right now. So I'm right here with you, and I'm going through the phone because I had an issue with the sound. It's probably an upgrade that I have to do. But other than that, I'm good. So I'm looking forward to the show. When you need the visuals, just let me know. Just give me a second to get to them. And we're good. But, you know, that's the thing. Consistency. You know, no matter whether you're under or feeling bad, you got to move forward. Some days you make 1,000 steps. Some days you make just 2 steps. But when you made the 2 steps, it's just as important because you still move forward. You have something to say, you know what? When this day passed, I did not sit around doing nothing. I got something to.
That's absolutely true, man. That is definitely true because sometimes it seems like, you know, you're not moving, but you are.
You don't have any goal or anything except popping links on YouTube and throwing out links to people. Just 50 links here and 70 and 100, and you're not watching these things, but you're not learning anything. You're not striving for anything. We're not going to be on this particular plane for very long. You know, we understand how this artificial construct called time goes, but I realize I won't even say mortality because we're going to be somewhere. Our energy is going to be somewhere, but on this level, do what you need to. Exactly. Do what you need to do and gather up as much wisdom and do what you're supposed to do here. Doesn't mean run after money. Doesn't mean run after status in the world. Doesn't mean try to be the most popular. It doesn't mean, but when you can internalize the awareness, like right now, I can tell you, I'm trying to live as long as I can, but I'm more and more ready for the transition with each passing day because my focus is not just earthly and worldly. You see what I mean?
Right. Man, you way ahead of most of us. But I tell you, I feel you on what you're saying because I feel the same way. You know, we know that tomorrow's not promised to us. And so we have to give the best version of ourselves every day that sun come up.
That's right.
Because you never know if you get another opportunity. And then at the same time, if you're walking in purpose and not just knee-jerk reacting to things that people do, then you know when you're responding as opposed to emotionally, you know, responding to something, but you're responding with something that will counter the attacks that come against us, then that's what we need to stay focused on.
Exactly. Beautifully said. And when you move in that and with that energy like that, you don't fear the transition because more and more, look, when a hurricane is coming down in Florida and they say, take the wood and cover your windows, fill up your bathtub with water, make sure your roof is intact, make sure you have so much water, so much food that you don't have to cook and be ready to hunker down. You're not scared of the hurricane then. All the things that are in your pool or in your yard, kind of tie them down, prepare. So right now, after all that I've been through on so many different levels, I feel prepared. I don't want the hurricane to come around right now. I want some sunny days. And I want to have more sunny days than anything else. But I know, and this is not a doomsayer kind of thing, but I know hurricanes are coming, storms are coming. I'm just so happy to be prepared for it. You know what I mean? And when my day comes, I'm ready. I'm prepared.
What our ancestors used to call it, their great getting up morning.
Exactly. Wow. But that's a beautiful thing. And so because of that, the artificial construct of time moves slower.
Right.
I'm more in touch with what's important. you know, and I even said in one of my writings this morning, the sweet detachment, my sweet detachment, meaning that I'm becoming more and more detached from the noise of this world that so many people run and jump around for. It doesn't do anything for me. Let it be the meaningful things, the things that mean something, you know?
Yeah. But you
So,
know what?
yeah, so,
I think
go ahead.
you'll be one, no, I'm sorry. You'll be one of those people that people will be talking about you 100 years from now when they see your work.
Right. I understand. I understand. And that's why the work is always attacked in different ways. But this
That's
is why I
right.
made it foolproof now. And I'm moving on to different, because what they can control, and when I say they, it's not some imaginary person, or I'm not in La La Land,
We
but
know what
right,
you mean. You say they.
right. But you know, you have these social media platforms, you have the Zuckerbergs, you have those small hats who run this one, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
You have the different factions that want to engineer and control how we think. And when you go against the grain, trust me, and I know that, and I'm not a big personality, I'm not a big famous whatever. That was never the goal.
Effective.
But since I know, oh yeah. Oh yeah. So now I don't even desire that. Like, I never desired the fame. I never desired to, oh, like me and share me. And what if you want to share, fine. So right now, my mentality, since I found this other platform that you can find on LanceScurvX.com and
Oh,
sign up by email. It's an
X.
email community. Yeah, X. Yeah. I still have LanceScurv.com, but specifically to go to that platform, you got to go to
Okay.
LanceScurvX.com and you'll see a sign up. So I don't even worry about the rest of the people where, oh, please come check this out. Please. I'm there. If you like what I do, you'll find me there. You'll find me on the site too. I'll still be
Yeah.
here on YouTube and stuff, but I'm not paying these numbers. I'm not paying whatever they say amount of hits are on, because they control that to try to discourage you.
Of
So I'm over
course.
there. I'm untouchable. I'll say that. And I'm doing my
Yeah. Of course, you know, they're paying. So what we think as people
thing.
who
So
are
I'm very happy
creative.
about that, because everything is going to be more organic and from the
Uh-huh.
heart. And if something
Uh-huh.
takes me 2 days or 3 days to complete, so be it. I'm not chasing, oh, I got to do, and you know I'm going to do something every day. But
Yeah.
from the inside, because I have the time now. So
Yeah.
this is not about me, brother. I just wanted to share that out there and just
Oh
let
no.
folks know that it's going to be some real good, deep stuff like the article that you read. I'm going deep. I'm not chasing
Yeah.
stories. I'm not chasing notoriety. I'm in my castle. I'm in my studio. I'm up in the mountains, and I'm like a guru. I'm like a monk.
Oh yeah.
I got no but time to dig deep now and come with some heavy hits. Because you
Well,
know,
I
in
like to
boxing,
say this is
Mhm.
about you. This is about you too. It's always about you. I know what you mean,
Yeah,
but again, you know, without your spirit, your platform, your strong desire to continue to fight, because you know a lot of people give up. Like, oh, I don't know, these Negroes, they don't want to do nothing. You know,
nah,
go
nah,
along with
nah.
the narratives, but you continue to fight in the ring every day, and that's the message that our young people have to get. Well, old people
That's
too.
right. That's
Is
right.
that,
That's
you
right.
know,
That's right.
regardless of what hits we take, the gut punches or whatever they may be, we have to continue to fight.
That's
Um,
right.
and if we don't fight, we know that we're just giving away something very precious that
That's right.
is given to us.
But even
Yeah.
when you know, like yourself, brother, you're great. What you do is great. My name might be on this platform, but you are an entity unto yourself with your own mission that we walk hand in hand and move on the same overlap. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like every fighter out there, every fighter that steps into the ring has to know in his heart that he will win,
Yes.
right? So
He
every
has to
fight
know
is
that.
not going to win all the time, but you have to have that in you. You have to have that
Yeah.
grit. So
Yeah.
when other people attack you or attack you to make you lose a platform or something of the sorts, they're judging by the state of their own mind, because they know how in the hell they would feel. Oh man, I ain't gonna do this no more. No, I'm groomed for this from birth. So this will continue on. And I'm just so happy to be free of those algorithms and to keep coming with stuff. And like I said, There's going to be at least 2 or 3 articles a day on LanceScurv X. So if you want to get down with that, delivered into your email box, go ahead, because I'm not holding back my tongue with that. And it's every single day, you know?
Well, I definitely got to check that out, especially with the X on it.
Well, listen, you're already there, brother. I just got a dedicated domain to bring you there. That's it. That, you know, it's the same thing.
Okay.
You're already there. You're already there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so, you know, the other thing I noticed too is that when you're given the time to put the concept of the show together, man, this is, I don't know how else this could be explained. I mean, that basically,
what you mean,
so right here where you have the merging of centuries of Timbuktu and the White House, and then you have the students there and the people there reading the scripts. This is so we know that time is circular, not how what they've taught us.
Right.
So we know that same energy from Timbuktu and the builders of our greatest institutions in America, it's all intertwined. Regardless to, like you said, the false times construct, space construct. But this show today, the inspiration behind it, really, and again, I want to greet you today, brother. Monday is always my best days. Greet everybody under the sound of my voice. And we all know, like we said before, in 2025, Black folks' pineal gland is open suddenly. Like, you know,
that's right.
Almost like something magical. Now, we're not going for that anymore. We're not going to let you okie doke us anymore. But more importantly, see, the thing is if you look at the history of our people, the majority of it has been oral. Now, I wouldn't say the majority of it, but probably about 50%.
Yes.
However, and the reason for that is once we put the truth and the concepts out, we didn't have to continue to make up narratives, you know, to try to justify the concept.
Right.
But if you're not the originator of something, then of course you got to keep trying to fine tune it because you don't really know. It's just like when you're writing for a patent. The reason why you can't give Westinghouse and these other people that stole our people's inventions the credit for this like white people do. I mean, a lot of them know the truth. But if it wasn't for Lewis Latimer who wrote the patent, there would be no concept of it. So this is where they okie doke our people. And so after listening, sitting back and watching the different moves that the vampires make, I sat back and I said, okay, well, the one good thing that comes out of this is that they're showing their hand completely, and Black people don't have to, because, you know, there's something deep inside of us that we want this to be real. We want the things that they have taught us, and the lies that they have taught us in our institutions. We actually want this to be true. And the reason for that is at our base, in our etheric spirit, is that we're etheric beings that actually put our spirit out in the world. Whereas when you're up against forces that are counterfeit spirits, unholy spirits, Luciferians, or vampires, whatever name you want to attach to them, then we know that what we have is greater than anything or any narrative that have ever been written by people who have never produced anything. So
absolutely.
So as we go into the topic, if you put the picture of Mansa Musa up, I like to start out with him.
Yes.
And there's a very, very important reason I want to start out with Mansa Musa. And that is that we know that the people who have lied, destroyed, and hid our history throughout history have achieved this because they have a faction of Black people all over the world, mainly in America, that don't see the connection between our people and Akibalon. And that is one of the greatest mistakes. But the more I look into this, this is by design. This is someone is benefiting from this. We know who's benefiting from it ultimately, but I mean, there are people within our own circle of Black people that are benefiting from this divide as well. And that is because they know that the Luciferians love conflict. They have to have this. This is why they have this two-party system and we don't have a three-party system. It's because when you have a three-party system, then you have a system of check. Okay, and then you also have the geometrical figure of the pyramid that is the base of our power as well. So all of these things, they matter when we factor in the metaphysical as well as the physical aspect of Black people's existence, not only in America, but in Akibalon as well. So homage to a great man, great brother, Mansa Musa, who was the wealthiest, by all accounts, the wealthiest man in the world. And the reason why we can say that is because his wealth was built on true wealth, which is gold. It wasn't built on fiat, stocks, cars, lies, taking other people's money, hurting people,
manipulation,
deception. I mean, whatever you can think of. And this is why we honor this brother today, because here we're looking at not only the wealthiest man in world history, but who, by the way, the things that they talk about with Mansa Musa go way beyond what I'm going to talk about today. I just want to, because he actually, his brother, I believe it was Abu Bakari, took over his throne when he came to America. Okay, so the thing is the reason why what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at a contrast between the real wealthiest man in history and the person we know today as the richest person in the world. So what are the, when we look at terms that existed with our people, like the Sanam Banam, the greater good, let's look at what a real wise, wealthy leader does. First of all, what he did was, now here's the biggest contrast that tells us the difference between someone who is chosen by the Creator and someone who is chosen by a God, okay, which mainly is a man, okay. Between the, let's see, he was born in 1280 AD, okay, and he actually, Mali actually existed between the 13th and the 15th centuries. Now, the contrast we see is both of them, well, before I get to that, Musa, which is the Arabic version of Moses, in whom our people, see, Oh man, every time I talk about this stuff, it's funny because our people refuse to look at our real history. And to this day, I don't know. I don't really care anymore. Okay. A lot of this information I'm putting out here to document for our children. Because you see, here's the real Moses right here. This is, if you believe, like our people believed in a deliverer, Moses, then you're looking at that right here. Okay. So Mansa, where we get Mansa Musa, was a title for emperor or king. In fact, the great empire of Ghana, where you reside, was a part of this, right? But the two things that happened between these two the wealthiest man in history and then the richest man that exists today was they both collapsed the economy of a country. They did that. Both of them did that. One is currently doing it, but here's the one major difference. The reason why Mansa Musa collapsed a country is because he gave away so much gold on his journey to Mecca that out of just pure love of other human beings. And see, this is the state that existed for our people before we came in contact with real evil. Okay, this man gave away so much gold that he collapsed Egypt. Okay, literally, he collapsed the economy. But nobody was complaining. And why wasn't they complaining? Because hey, if you're going to collapse the economy because of too much gold being presented, then hey, we love that type of collapse, right? Where every single individual benefited from this in that country. Fast forward to today, we have the so-called richest man in history. He also collapsed the economy. But the way that he collapsed the economy is the total opposite or polarity of what a real wise, true leader like Mansa Musa did. Mansa Musa empowered people where Luciferian, his primary goal, or their primary goal, is to collapse the economy of a country by taking away their support system, which in America is jobs for the majority of people, because the corporations actually run them. Actually, the corporations have the real power, but the American public is fueled by small businesses, which he also collapsed. So we see this contrast, right, between a great wise ruler who his greatest legacy apart from this was that he created what we know as the center of world learning. There is no other institution in the history of the world that we can compare to Timbuktu, in which the University of St. Corey resided. Again, he built the greatest institution in world history to empower his people in Timbuktu in 1327. And you see, again, I can't emphasize this enough, is that when you look at the true picture of a wise leader, rather than taking away the education or knowledge about history, you want to empower your people, because that means that's why Ghana is such a great empire today. Look at the fruits that came down from Mansa Musa, And then look at the fruits of what came down from our presidents here in America. That's all you got to do. And that speaks for itself. But when you talk about this apartheid Nazi individual, I'll use an example. When Imhotep was the prime minister or vizier for Zosa, he was someone that you knew had a gift that was going to empower your people, or had several gifts. And you never had to question anything that he either advised you on or he actually did, because Imhotep always looked at the needs of the people and empowering people. That's why they have a shrine to him in Libya, to Imhotep, because he was someone who gave everything to his people. But when you talk about this individual today that has the ear of our president, he is destroying our country. He is destroying things that have been built for hundreds of years. But it's going to backfire on him, because whenever you destroy the Creator's children, oh boy, you're picking off, you're starting a fire that you can't put out. You just don't realize it in your arrogance. You don't realize that. So those are the two most glaring differences today. Is that when you have a leader that loves, because if you're over an empire, if you're a king, a president, a prime minister, whatever, then this is something that just is not a man-made title. This is something where you're supposed to be in reverence to the Creator, where you're taking care of his creation. That is what a real leader does, not someone who only wants to finance their businesses and how much money they can make off the pain and suffering of people. So that is the major difference. Okay, you can take that picture down, brother. I want to move into our topic today. Okay, you there, brother Lance?
Yeah, I was just muted.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me
If you
put you solo.
The picture, any one of the pictures of the slaves that built the White House, either one, yeah, okay. And then we're going to show how they built it, but you can leave that one there for now. Thank you. So the title today is From Timbuktu to Builders of America, Black Excellence. Or as we should say, Black Excellence, from Timbuktu to Builders of America. And see, this is the primary reason why I was saying in the beginning, why they want to cut you off from this. Because when you start to see it, okay, and the blinders come off, then you know what the truth is. Now, as we were saying, I'm just gonna go through a couple of things about Mansa Musa before we get to the builders of America. As I said, was the world's largest university, Timbuktu, that actually housed the University of Salamanca. I'm sorry, that's in Spain. Actually housed the University of St. Corey. Between the 13th and 16th centuries, it was at its height. that it was known as the center of the world where people, and see, this is what our institution's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a place where people can go, build knowledge and wisdom from all aspects of our society. Okay. And like we see today, and here's another parallel that we see, that the European colonial powers of that day destroyed Timbuktu, the manuscripts, in which there was over 100,000 manuscripts. However, at night, the students and the scholars from Timbuktu and the University of Sankore, they, whether they had to do it on camelback, however, they actually were able to save 40,000 manuscripts, which was incredible because, again, this Luciferian spirit was determined to burn down, like they are today, the history of our people. But yet we know this history survived just like the history of today. So do you know what it would take to wipe out the history of Black people? Yeah, and so we know that there is a full-on assault. And what I'm predicting to our people today, if we don't stand up when they put education on the state level like they have done now, we have got to stand up and teach our children the truth about who we are, because if not, it's going to be destroyed. And that's why I said a lot of history is oral as well. And this is why you have a lot of lies that can be told until people can actually fact check it. The other thing about this incredible world center of world learning and the greatest institution ever built, which was built by Mansa Musa, it had over 150 disciplines. Now imagine that, including astronomy, mathematics, medicine, art, geometry, law, spirituality, physics, and science, as well as medicine. 200 years before Copernicus and Galileo, who they give credit to a lot of the things that we know came out of the University of Sankore. We know this. So that's why I said, when they try to destroy all the manuscripts, you know, by the time the nighttime came, they were so tired, you know, they had to regroup till the next day. And when they did that, our people went in and they took these manuscripts and they took them to a safe place. And had they not done that, they would have been very successful in actually destroying a lot of the wisdom and knowledge that came to us from our ancestors down through the millennia and the centuries. Also, over 150 disciplines, which is incredible when you actually think about this. So let's get to the real reason why we're here today. Okay, and the real reason we're here today is because we know that Black excellence is under attack. Now, this reminds me of the type of jealousy that teenagers have of each other. When they see you with something that they want, and not only do they want it, they don't want you to have it. Or they don't want to give you the credit for having it. They want to take the credit for it themselves. Okay, so this is something that's very, very... Lance, can you hold on for a second?
Yeah, sure. Take your time, brother. Yeah, take your time.
Let me talk to... Hey, can I ask you a favor? I'm doing my show. Can you give me an hour before you get started? Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, no, about at least another hour. Oh yeah, the guy was doing some work out there.
Right. Take your time,
I
brother.
had to let him know because that would drown out the show, man. and we
Oh my
know
God.
that's part of that energy. That, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, man, these people fight us on all fronts. You know that, Lance.
Of course.
So that's the, I mean, all weekend you didn't do anything, but now you want to do it today.
Exactly.
Come on. So let's get into the real reason we're doing this today. And I was making the point that you know, this is childish behavior. And if there was someone that, well, we'll talk about that when we get into the text. Builders of America, we built it. We have the proof here today. I'm going to go through it step by step. You guys be patient with me. But we have to put the truth out here, because if we don't, then they're going, right now, they're writing narratives and lies to change real American history. So when we say that we built it and we are the builders of America, what do we mean? Let's look at what we mean by that. Because, you know, I hear people from other cultures, which certainly have contributed to the continuum of, you know, the different industries in America. But when you're talking about who built America, we're talking about 100% Black people. Okay? This is what we're talking about. This cannot be changed. And we're going to show you why this can't be changed. Black people built all of the government buildings, including Wall Street, the White House, and the U.S. Capitol. Now, we're going to go through a list of the most important institutions that were built by slaves, but I want to expand on something here. That along with us building the greatest institutions in America, we also are the original wealth producers of America. In 1619, rice, tobacco, and indigo, okay, actually produced the greatest wealth here in this country at that time. And they did it with free, unpaid labor. Let me say that to you again. The original wealth producers of America, which were Black people, or slaves if you want to call them that, in 1619, from the conception of this European empire, that we built their great. Imagine if they didn't have our people to harvest or plant and harvest rice, tobacco, and indigo with free labor, there would be no America. There would be no United States. This is a fact. Okay. In 1836, some 200 years or more later, over half of the U.S. economy and wealth was fueled by cotton, which the original figure they gave is 600 million. At that time, that would be trillions of dollars today. It's just mind-blowing, okay? And the reason why it's mind-blowing is because you have a people, imagine, if I built your mansion, Lance, right? And then I see you maybe a year later and you tell me to get off your property. How would that jive? Because you're the people that built the White House, that all of our presidents, including the current one, reside and run the government from. Black folks built it. How do we know? Put the other picture up there, Lance, please. How do we know they built? We have proof.
Give me a second.
Somebody took pictures of it. Thank goodness. Because if they hadn't taken the pictures of this, of course, there would have been people saying, oh, how did they build the White House in the Capitol? Okay. Now, one of the things that we know is that whenever, and well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about this picture we're looking at right now. And we're going to talk about at least 7 or 8 of America's most prestigious institutions, including the universities, that were built by Black people. You can call them slaves all you want. And this is, what is the great irony of this hate coming from our people out of our institutions of power that we built? The Capitol Rotunda, the Capitol, where the Congress and the Senate meets. How could you have all of this hate coming from a place that you would not even have a place to govern in if it wasn't for Black people? What is the irony of this type of hate? This is why we know that these are counterfeit spirits that are counter to the real creative creative spirit of the universe. So when people hear me say that, this is what I mean by that. What is the irony of that? So here we see Black people building not just the White House, but the Capitol of the United States. Okay, and let's look at 8 of the most important institutions in our society that was built by Black people. Okay, first, on October 13th, 1792, the White House was built. That's something you can't take away from our people. Okay, and I remember hearing Michelle Obama saying how strange it felt to be now her husband and her children to be living in a house that was built by slaves. What the irony of that was. And then she was talking about how she was just blown away by the irony of that. And that if you ask the slaves that built the White House, if one day you ever thought that someone from amongst them would be the president of the United States, which he was not the first president of America, but he was the first Black president of America. But he was the first Black president of the United States. That's even can be debated, okay? Because we know there were at least 8 presidents prior to Barack Obama that actually, when you go through their ancestry, and at some point, okay, you see a Black person, okay? So the Capitol building was built in 1793. Okay, again, you could not run your government if you did not have Black people who built the Capitol that you conduct your business in for the United States every day. And again, I just want to say the irony of this is so, when you look at it, it's mind-numbing. The Smithsonian. Now, one of the reasons why the African American Museum was built was to honor this legacy. And certainly, you can't tell the story of a country if you're not going to tell the foundational roots of their country. That's impossible. Well, you can't tell the story of anything if you leave. That's like jumping to the middle without. That's why all books have an introduction. The reason for that introduction is to let you know the foundational roots of whatever it is that we're talking about. So they built the Smithsonian. Now the Smithsonian is thought of today sort of like a modern day Timbuktu. Okay. And so the idea is that America or Americans and our children will look at the real history of the United States and seek to make it a better and more prosperous union. This is the purpose. So why in God's name would anyone want to destroy the Smithsonian's, the African American Museum and the Smithsonian? That is, to me, I couldn't believe it when I heard it. But again, I understand and comprehend what is at the root of this. So, and again, our people, I'm so proud of our people now. I used to seethe in private for years on how these people manipulated our people. Because you ain't got to do nothing. See, your power is in your purse, okay? You're the #1 consumer in the world. So, you know, now that your pineal gland is opening, you know, all you got to do is sit back with popcorn and target these people who are trying to, you know, bring down our people. That's all you got to do. You ain't got to do no marching. You ain't got to do none of that. No protesting. No. That was, the purpose for that has been served. Okay? The purpose for that has been served. And that's like, I heard someone say one time that that's like someone crossing a river to get to the other side that they've never been to in a boat. And then when they get on land, they're carrying the boat on their back. Okay. So it's time for you to cut the umbilical cord. Now that you see, you're looking, the veil is off your eyes, what is actually happening. All right. So we know how valuable the Smithsonian is to America. It's very, very important. And our children need to know this. What we're going to have them fighting against each other, what you're going to have cultural wars for. I don't want my grandchildren to have to go fight against people who refuse to acknowledge who we are and who their ancestors and the sacrifices they made. But if that's what it comes down to, that's what it comes down to. But you see, that is not the concept of the Sonum Bonum or the greater good. And this is the #1 trait that a wise leader possesses. Okay, Wall Street was built in 1653. The irony of this is that from 1711 to 1762, slaves were bought and sold here. The greatest institution in the world was built by slaves, Wall Street. Well, let me preference that. The wealthiest institution in the world was built by slaves. So I want to pause for a minute and ask yourself this question. So then this would be a good question to ask these Luciferians. So do you not know the roots and the foundation of America? Do you not know that without Black people, there would be no United States? Because if you don't know that, we can show you. And no matter what you do to what history, Okay. Yeah, you can remove that, brother, if you want to now. We have the proof. After Wall Street, then we have Trinity Church that was built in 1698. And Trinity Church is one of the most prestigious religious institutions or churches in America. Always has been. One of the oldest. This was built way back in 1698. Again, by who? Black people. This is Black excellence. Because if you can build a country, that means that your excellence is here. No matter what people try to do, the caterpillar, and again, you can't have butterfly conversations with caterpillar people. So when you have caterpillars that are trying to bring you back down through the cocoon, it can't happen if you know the truth. Okay, Faneuil Hall in Boston, Massachusetts in 1742, which is the current seat of government there, was built by who? By Black people. Are you there, Brother Lance?
Yes, I am, brother.
Oh, okay. You can remove the picture if you like.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
I was able to move. Thank you. I was able to make the point with that because, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. If I was sitting here just saying that and people didn't see proof, then we know that they
Seeing
can
is believing.
Yes, sir. Seeing
That's
is
right.
believing. That's right. So I want to talk about something that's very, very, very important. I cannot stress this enough. That are and then going back and looking at when we first started talking about Timbuktu and it being the center of world knowledge and learning and wisdom. Let's look at our oldest and most prestigious institution, educational institution in the United States of America, and that is Harvard University, which currently has a $40 billion endowment. We can talk about the fact that, well, let's talk about it. We won't go into that part. But Harvard Law School has produced some of the greatest people that have served in our government in the United States of America. Okay, even currently. Okay, now let's talk about that. And also, I think 3 or 4 of our presidents, we'll see. But Rutherford B. Hayes, the 19th president of the United States, a graduate of Harvard Law School that was built by who? Black people, or what you call slaves. To me, when you look back at what our people did and produced, they are gods and goddesses, okay? They are kings and queens. You can call them slaves all you want, okay? Just because you brutalize somebody doesn't make them a slave. That it makes you a slave to your evil. So that's, you know, we have to look at this from a reverse angle. Let's look at Elizabeth Dole, former senator of North Carolina, the wife of one of our, I believe Bob Dole was the Speaker of the House, the 3rd person in line to the presidency. So, you know, when you start talking about a nation and a country and a government that was built by Black people, how in the world could you have? This is why I know there's some type of mental. Actually, white supremacy should be classified as a mental illness. Okay, there's no other way to look at that. There's no
exactly.
There's no other way to. They should be in the DSM. There is no other way. This is a mental health issue that can only be solved in that culture. What was interesting to me was all of these Supreme Court justices that came out of Harvard Law School, the people responsible for making or passing judgment on the major issues in our society. John G. Roberts, okay, who is currently our sitting Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Anthony Kennedy, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. These people have participated in some of the most profound decisions in American history. Neil Gorsuch. So when we look at this, we have to ask our question: how could you ignore the fact that Black people, or what you call slaves, built the most prestigious and oldest educational university that the people at the pinnacle of our government went to school at? But there would be no Harvard Law School if Black slaves didn't be. Okay, so let's look at Barack Obama, the 44th president of the United States. Okay, a graduate of Harvard Law School. So you see, while you're playing this game on the America, or mainly on certain cultures in America, we know our history. This is why I don't bother. It's not bothering Black folks with this juvenile behavior, because we know, most white folks know this real history I'm talking about right here. Now, their children don't know it because they've hid it from them. But the older ones know it. Okay. So let's look at some of the other institutions that of prestige in America that the so-called slaves also built. Castilla de San Marcos in St. Augustine, Florida in 1672. Now, you would never have been able, okay, to launch any type of wars to defend one of the first territories, St. Augustine, Florida, that you resided in, which is the oldest masonry fort in the continental United States that was built in 1672, if slaves didn't build it. So, let's stop with all this talk about other people building America, okay? Because I don't know what book you're reading or where you're getting this from, but that is just a straight out bold-faced lie, okay? But this was your first fort that allowed you, when you look at that massive structure, it allowed you to fight off any type of enemies that you encountered. But you wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for Black folks that built it. Let's look at a couple of our universities, our oldest and prestigious educational facilities or institutions. Georgetown University, okay, which was built, okay, I didn't get the year for that, but Georgetown University is one of the oldest educational institutions in American history. And it also has produced many of the people that you call scholars, and also a lot of people in our government. And Georgetown is a very pivotal institution built by slaves. Became famous because of Patrick Ewing, Ivan Iverson, Mutombo, all these great basketball players that put Georgetown University on the map. Sleepy flows. You know, these guys, what's his name? Alonzo Mourning. So you can't erase real history. 1789, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Another one of our oldest and prestigious universities that was built by who? Black people, 1789. I don't see any other cultures of people that migrated from anywhere that help us build this. You look at Michael Jordan, James Worthy, Kenny Smith, all these great players that put North Carolina on the map. Okay. The slaves built the University of North Carolina, or what you call slaves. There would be no University of North Carolina that you know of today if Black people didn't build that prestigious institution. Now let's look at the historical sites that were built by Black people and slaves. The first one is Monticello, home of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. It was built in 1772, and he owned more than 175 slaves. Now I'm gonna say that again, because here's something that they don't really want you to know, which cannot be hidden, because it's always been out there. But one of our most historic institutions, okay, Monticello, which is the home of the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, was built, who owned 175 slaves, was built by who? Was built by Black people, slaves. Oh, okay. I thought that's what you said. Yeah. Mount Vernon, certainly the home of the first recognized president of the United States in 1758, was built by who? Mount Vernon was built by who? Where the first president of the United States resided. It was built in 1758. Oh yeah, that's what I thought you said, Black people. He also had 317 slaves. Wow. That is incredible. Now let's go into a very interesting. Let's go into Black innovation, and this is why we talk about Black excellence. So why we're talking about, we know that these great and hallowed halls of government would not exist if Black people didn't build them. We know that already. But now let's move from the physical aspect of it to Black innovation. And if you took these things out of America, if you remove these contributions of Black people out of America, these innovations, you know what? You already know the answer to that. What this society would look like, what it would be. It'd just be a bunch of, vampires fighting against each other because they don't have any entertainment, no music, no nothing. But let's look at music. Jazz, blues, gospel, R&B, and the arts and sciences. Now, this one genre itself transformed America. Every single type of music you can think of, including country music, came out of the jazz, blues, and gospel. This is a fact. You can study the arts and culture and the science of the United States, or I should say of America, and you'll see this, and you'll see why, again, why they want to hide this. There would be no cultural sciences and arts. This is a fact, okay? This is why it's so important for them to remove this out of the Smithsonian and the African American Museum of History. This is why. This don't have nothing to do with money. Okay, there are plenty of places you can say that this don't have anything to do with money. This has to do with an inferior people in their minds, because they're looking at truth, that has the power to try to, at least erase the institutions that harbor this, these manuscripts or this information. Okay. Let's look at a couple of, let's look at, well, we know we did a video on the inventors, the great Black inventors of America. We're not going to, well, we're just going to point out a few things. Did you know that, so you flying all over the world and all over the country could not be possible if it wasn't for this brother, Charles Chappell? He's responsible for planes being able to fly long distances. This is another thing they don't tell you. They'll tell you about the Wright brothers, but Wright brothers are not, if it wasn't for Charles Chappell, then planes wouldn't be able to go where they go all over the world. Because that concept, which naturally they improved on, would not have, came into existence. Cell phone, what you talk on every day, that you depend on now to get all of your news and all of your information. You'd still be on landlines, using landlines, if it wasn't for Henry Thomas Sampson, Jr., who invented the cell phone in 1971. A Black man. So was Charles Chappell, a Black man. So you see, when they attack our people, the reason they're attacking it is because they're using this low vibratory caterpillar mentality to try to destroy our people. Lance, you see, I don't know if you see those first visuals I sent you, where one of them said, "Who created the vampires?"
Oh, the one we showed before?
No,
let me see.
I sent you originally, I sent it to you yesterday. If you look on your email, I guarantee you see it.
Okay, give me a second. I'll
All right.
Okay.
It's who created the vampires. We need to take a look at that.
All right, give me a couple minutes. I'll get it for you.
Okay. So now that we're playing plantation politics, we're going to look at what actually happened to our people. And I'm going to go back and deal with something that I was going to deal with before. Okay, so we know one of the reasons too why there's an assault on the Constitution is so there were 3 amendments to the Constitution that were made strictly for Black people. All right. And this was done by all white government from 1865 to 1869 under President Andrew Johnson, who, by the way, ascended to the presidency after the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln for helping Black people or acknowledging Black people or changing the rules of the game. The 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment, which gave citizenship to Black folks. And then the 15th Amendment, which outlawed discrimination in voting. Okay. Keep it in line with what we're discussing now with Black excellence and Black innovation. The central heating system that you use today, Alice Parker. And then you couldn't regulate the central heating system if it wasn't for Frederick Jones, the thermostat inventor. So when you start looking at innovation, you start looking at the contributions of Black people to America, what is the reason why? I mean, I know the answer to this, but what is the reason why you really, really want to destroy this? What is the real reason for this? If we ask ourselves this. And so finally, I want to remind our people of something that happened in history that is the impetus behind them trying to bait and switch our people to go out and protest so they can institute martial law. They need you to do that. And I am so proud that our people have an open pineal gland now where you see the little boy, little girl games that are being played because they need, in order for them to instill the real meat and potatoes of Project 2025, they have to have you out in the street. They have to have that. Okay. And we're going to look at an incident. Oh, what's wrong with me today? Let me drink some of this. An incident in history that actually shows us what was done to our people out of pure hate and jealousy, which they have lined up now to carry out again. So the Elaine massacre in Arkansas in 1919, in which hundreds of Black people were murdered, and they instituted a form of martial law then because the governor of Arkansas, I think his name was Ball or something like that, he sent 583 federal troops or U.S. soldiers along with a white terrorist organization like the Ku Klux Klan into that city. Okay. And this is what they're planning to do with martial law. And so they made up a lie that, Black people shot and killed. Now they're in church where you all like to be. Let me show you. That's why I say that they don't worship the same God that you worship. There you go. That's it. That's it. Thank you, brother. Thank you. They don't worship the same creator that you worship. I don't know what it's going to take to get this in our people's heads. I don't know what it's going to take. But they never reference the creator. They burnt down Black churches. They killed babies in the Black churches, little girls. So the way that the Elaine massacre really started was they shot into a Black church, all right? And guess what? It was return fire coming out. And it killed 2 or 3 of the white men, okay, that, basically shot in the church. So again, I don't know why you don't know this, that the God they serve is an anti-Black, bigoted, hateful God. I don't know why you did, but that's what you're doing. Okay. So they used this. They were so angry that our people fought back, that they used this to use for martial law. And you fast forward, over 150 years, now we're looking at, see, this is why you have to look at, they use the same playbook, okay? They go back and look into their history and see what was effective. Now, I don't know the answer. I have an answer to who created the vampires. Okay. Well, first of all, when you look at the feudalism system, the way it's set up, the serf and the peasants at the lower level, okay, or the people who they have subjected to this level by the let's see, the undistribution of wealth. Okay, that's not the right word I want to use, but you get the picture. Okay, where the wealth is not being distributed equally. Okay, it's being distributed. In fact, it's not even being distributed to our people. And then you have the knight class. Now, the knight class, to me, are the ones that carry out the plans of the Luciferians, who are the lords, okay, in this feudalism system. They are the landowners. They're the ones that actually, own the international corporations that, do all these things in other countries and causes all of these problems, economic problems, on purpose. But the vampire, so that is a lord standing behind them. So the vampires, or the knight class, they actually carry out this hate. And that is who the vampires, that is who created the vampires, the lords, or the Luciferians. And then when you get to the highest level, the king in the feudalism system, that can be compared to that can be compared to the counterfeit spirits, okay, or these entities that have infiltrated, the minds of people here on the planet. So you see the guy in the background represents the lords. The Luciferians or the lords, they take their marching orders from the king, okay? And the king takes his marching orders from the counterfeit spirits of the Luciferians, or I call them non-holy spirits too. So, yeah. So the other thing too is every time you come to a traffic light, Garrett Morgan, a black man, invented it. When you go to the bathroom, the toilet, J.B. Rhodes, okay? Whenever you use a bathroom, J.B. Rhodes. I believe it was a black lady that invented toilet paper. I'm not sure. I have to check that one. So you wouldn't even be able to use a bathroom if it wasn't for black folks. J.B. Rhodes got the patent in 1899 in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Okay, so you can continue with this plan. You can continue with it. The fact of the matter is, okay, brother, you can remove that. Thank you. The fact of the matter is that this is not going to stop what the creative creating spirit has already put into motion with the Nitaru. You cannot stop this power. You can go look at all the quanta you want to at the quantum level and try to analyze what you can't, because you don't have a spiritual natural connection like black people do to this power. But you can fool our people into thinking that you do. So with that, brother, I think I'll end the show today. You know, it's
wonderful presentation as always, brother.
yes, yes. And we're going to continue to strive to know who we are, that we're the greatness, our Black excellence, regardless to who tries to erase that. There is a river, like Vincent Harding said, there's a river. And that river runs throughout the existence of Black folks on this planet. So peace and love, brother.
Peace and love, brother. Yes, yes.
Thank
I'm
you
going to
again.
send you a link for that thing we talked about so you can finally see.
Yeah, please.
Definitely.
Please.
Yeah.
And,
definitely. I'm going to nurse this cold.
Yourself, man. Get over that cold, man. I know that can be wicked.
Yeah, but you know what? I got mad at the cold and I started doing some heavy manual labor up in the studio here, some things I had to do. So when things try to knock me, I get mad and want to fight it back. So you wouldn't believe it. I feel it, but I like to keep moving. And I'm coughing and all that stuff. You know, but I'll be all right, man. You know, I'll do some lives this week, but I won't show my face. My voice is going to be a little compromised. I'll do that and get those things on. But like I said, for the people looking in the up top or the chat room, and go to LanceScurv and put your email address in there. It's going to be a lot of things going on. But brother, I know you got some stuff to do. I'll be hitting you up this week.
Okay.
And thanks again. Another one for the collection.
Yes,
and may
sir.
someone out there gain enlightenment from the words that you took the time to share. And I thank you so much.
Sir. Thank you,
all right?
brother. Peace and love.
Likewise. Thank you, brother.
All right.
Always. Yes. Yes, just want to say that make an announcement. I got a really bad cold. I was on a van with this passenger who was sneezing and coughing like he tried to cough down my throat. There's nowhere to go. And it got worse and worse. And this is probably the worst cold that I ever had in my entire life. And like I said, I feel it. I'm nursing it. I'm doing the natural herbs and leaves. I got everything in my backyard to take care of it. It's just a matter of waiting it out and get my liquids going and stuff like that. I get a lot of good rest, but I have to move my body. So that's basically what I'm doing. I do want to say that on YouTube and on Patreon, I've always had it where you can support what we do here. Now on YouTube, on the membership page, I really haven't been putting up independent content and stuff like that because I said it was basically for support of the platform. And the same thing with Patreon. So tonight I'm going to take those down. And if you want to support the channel, you go to LanceScurv X. There's a paid feature there, which I'm not saying you have to because we all need every penny we got. But I just don't want it to be a mystery when you see the membership on YouTube gone and the Patreon gone. And the reason being, when the channel was shut down, we had a membership page when it was shut down last year, but all of that goes. So where I am now is safer and everything will go there. And I will be doing rare content, probably like once a week, but everything, every day, several articles, a lot of writing going on. That's where it's happening. So in the next 2 days or so, I'm going to remove those features on YouTube and on Patreon so I don't have to depend on anything external other than what I'm on now, which is a wonderful, wonderful place to be. So there's rich with features and everything. And the basic way to get there is LanceScurvX.com. The link is on the top of the chat room on YouTube. And I know my voice is out there a little bit bad, so I don't want to cough in anybody's ear. I'm pretty much thousands of miles away from most people. But I'm going to finish up this little bit of work that I started, and now I regret starting it. You know, I'm putting up some extra stones that I had to put up on the walls in certain places. So I kind of balance things out. I'm up near the ceiling. I'm doing all this crazy stuff. But I cannot go to bed unless I know I did something online and in real life, face to face. So I have a big thing of concrete drying up. I got to keep it going. Once I finish that up, I'm going to retire. I'll probably lay down in the bed and craft an article on the phone. And also hit me up anytime, Lance@LanceScurv.com. Any topics that you want me to write about or talk about, please bring it to me. I want to dig deep now. I don't want to do the superficial stuff that everybody else is doing and the usual stuff that everybody else is doing. I want to really go deep. And whatever it may be, it could be something touchy, it could be a tearjerker, it could be anything with human nature. I'll do it. I'll talk about it. I won't say who. I'll keep your name discreet. I'll keep it out of my mouth. But I want to go deep into these things, because I've been through a lot and I have a lot to share. And maybe there's something that needs to be talked about that you never saw out there from a human level, not just me acting as though I'm somebody who knows everything, but I will really go into it deep. And this is what I want. Excuse me. I'm experiencing a lot of things at this phase of my life that are wonderful. To be free and to be back to my original self in ways where, and I got to explain that because I've always been my original self, but I want to explain that. When you were younger and you didn't have to concern yourself with anything except for those who had it, because some people didn't have it that way. But to get up, go to school, come home, watch a cartoon, do your homework, whatever it may be. So, I'm going to go play out with my friends on Saturday. Well, that's the feeling that I have now. Now, I know the world is a much more serious place because of what's going on, but I feel so cleansed and I feel like a car that's been tuned up, except for this cold. I couldn't tune that up and get rid of that, right? But in my spirit, it's so clean and cleansed, and I can see things so much clearer now. And I want to go deep. And it's a joy to wake up every single day and have something ahead of me to accomplish, or have something put on my spirit to talk about, whether it's a request or not. I know somebody is out there hearing it. And when I get the responses from different things, it makes me really feel good because this is my mission. You understand? So just want to let everybody know that I love you all. And I'm going to sign off now. And I will be back with something tomorrow on the live stream. But it'll probably be, covered with a banner, which I know that you'll understand and don't mind. And so that being said, let me run and I will talk to you all tomorrow. LanceScurv X, you're going to see all the new articles there. Make sure to go there and sign up. All you got to do is put your email address in. When something goes new, it goes right into your email box. This is not social media where it's just out there like that. This goes right personally straight to you, so you can't miss anything. All right? Much love to you all. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.